Tom Brady, TB12, my favorite athlete. And I know it's almost comical to call him an athlete, but he really is one of the most decorated humans ever in the field of sports. And what was so inspiring to me was at the peak of his career, he's wiping the floor with competition, already has multiple Super Bowls, breaking records, probably has broken pretty much any record at that point already. Most quarterbacks at that point, they're just chilling, right? And you'd see players, you'd see veterans, you'd see young players, photos of them in the offseason. They're fucking off at clubs, they're just enjoying themselves. But Tom Brady, he was always training, constantly preparing. Even as he got older, he was always on the field. He never had to shake the rust off in the preseason because he never got rusty. He was always working. I'll never forget it, but my favorite scenes to see would be him, whether he was winning or losing in a football game, duck down, all you would see was the top of his head, and he'd be constantly staring at a tablet. And whether he was winning, whether he was losing, and most quarterbacks, they're winning, they're laughing on the sideline with other players. If they're losing, they're pissed and throwing a little hissy fit. But Tom, winning or losing, all he'd be doing is looking at that tablet and preparing and analyzing and working at getting better. He never let the foot off the gas. And that trend, I think you can see in pretty much any high performer. If you look at Justin Tucker, a kicker in the National Football League, best kicker probably to ever play the game, but definitely the best in the game right now. He is the only kicker that if you go to a football game, he will be out there before any player. He'll be out there during halftime when the teams are in the locker room, and he'll be there after the football game ends, kicking and kicking and kicking. He just never stops. He is the best of the best, and he gets more practice in than anyone else. And if you ask me, in the conversation of correlation versus causation, I think it's pretty obvious. All of the best, they never stop training, they never stop preparing. And that's something that if we want to be the best, we have to look at and think to ourselves, how do we do that in our world? In the world of sales, if we want to be the best sales reps that we can be, how do we train? How do we prepare? Today, in this last lesson of phase 2, that's where we're going to be going over. In today's lesson specifically, we're going to be going over the daily pregame and postgame rituals that every sales rep should be actioning on to make sure that they are constantly and always in pocket. Let's dive in. Roll intro. There are 3 things we're going to focus on in today's agenda to make sure that you're staying in pocket. And if you hear me say in pocket, that's a sales term that I've kind of picked up from one of the companies that I've worked with before. I don't know why it's a thing, but I love it. I think it's a great saying. It might have come from American football. When a quarterback is inside of the pocket, they have the best view of the field and they have the most options to take. And so I'm guessing that's where it's coming from. But anyway, in pocket, just in zone, right? That's what to take from this. And so 3 areas today, 3 topics we're going to focus on to make sure that you are in zone as often as possible. Topic number 1 is going to be your physical well-being. Topic number 2 is going to be your emotional well-being, your mental well-being. And topic number 3 is going to be your sales brain. They're all, of course, related. For your sales brain to be working well, your mentality has to be in a really good spot. Your brain just has to be working well as a whole. And for your brain to be working well, your body has to be functioning and working well. So starting with that, the first point, your physical well-being, we'll keep this short because you probably already know how to keep your body up to shape. Number 1, you should be working out at least once a day. Doesn't matter if it's running or swimming or lifting weights or playing any kind of sport. Keep your body moving. Number 2, stretch every day for 10 minutes. Highly recommend you do that in the morning. Number 3, drink water consistently. I drink a gallon a day. And then number 4, find a diet that works for you. Personally, when I'm in pocket, I'm always doing carnivore and I'm always doing some kind of intermittent fasting. And that's all for physical. We'll keep physical super short and sweet, super simple. Topic number 2 is your mental, which obviously for me right now is not doing very well because I have 3 fingers up. 2 main tips for your mental. Number 1 is that stretch in the morning for 10 or 15 minutes. And specifically, it's not the physical part of stretching, but it's the mental part of either meditating while you stretch or praying, which is what I do while you stretch. Just 15 minutes of stretching where there's no input coming in. It's just you, no thoughts, just turning off your brain. Think about your brain really quickly as just a CPU. And when you're in sales, it's pretty much running at like full capacity the entire time. And just like a CPU or an engine would burn out if it was at redline the entire time, so will your brain. So you have to be really intentional about giving your brain a break. Professional athletes, they know this with their body. It's very obvious because it's very tangible with your body. But professional athletes, if a pitcher in baseball pitches a game, they take 5 or 6 days off before they're on the lineup again to pitch, and they ice their arms. As closers, we play a mental game. Our brain is constantly being worked. We're constantly thinking about different techniques and objection handling tracks and frameworks to use in different circumstances. And we're playing that game every single day. And so we have to be really intentional and I do it in the morning, about giving our brain a time where it's just no input. And so we have to be really intentional about resting our brains, just like athletes do their bodies. And so 10 or 15 minutes in the morning, being intentional about just not giving any input to your brain, just letting it chill for a second. I personally do it in the morning because I almost feel like it's a warm start. It's like letting your brain kind of naturally come into the day before you start, feeding it fuck tons of information. But you can do it whenever you want. Whatever feels most natural for your brain to rest in, whatever time of day, just listen to your brain, listen to your body. The way that I look at it is it takes 15 minutes of your day, which is literally less than 2% of your day. And for investing 2% of your day toward no input to make the other 98% of your day more efficient, I think that's an amazing, amazing ROI kind of activity, right? And so anyway, first thing, 10 or 15 minutes in the morning, no input while you're stretching or not, just meditate, pray, take a second, no input into your brain. My second tip to make sure you're mentally sharp is just making sure that you time block times to not be working. My favorite work pattern is actually 3 hours on, 15 minutes to 30 minutes off, and then 3 hours on, 15 or 30 minutes off. And whether I'm walking or chilling or eating for that 15 or 30 minutes, what I'm doing is I'm just giving my brain some rest for 15 or 30 minutes after going hard for 3 hours. A lot of people think that work should be 8 or 9 or 10 hour stretches of just full-fledged, full-out work. But number one, I don't think that's possible. And number two, if you actually really think about why we think that, it's because of corporate America and corporatism in general. Corporate life has always been 9 to 5, you work. And to train you for that, traditional schooling is 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or whatever time, straight up school. And the reason they do that is they need to train people to just sit in a chair for 8 hours so that when they get to corporatism, corporate life, they can do that in corporate life. But now that we're not in corporate life, now that we're in this kind of new world of online business, instead of just sitting down for 8 hours a day, what actually matters is efficiency. And to be more efficient, we actually don't want to work in 8-hour stretches. We want to work in small, bite-sized chunks of time and then take breaks. And then go back and then take breaks. A company would rather have you do 6 hours of optimal, hard as shit, focused work than 8 hours of you doing like 50%, 60% efficiency. Because the math actually plays out. If you're 100% for 6 hours, that's 6 hours of work. But if you're 50% for 8 hours, that's 4 hours of work. And so anyway, if you really think about it, mental tip number 2, time block times does not work. I personally do 3 hours on, half an hour off. That's been a work schedule that's worked really well for me over the last few years. Find what works best for you. Topic number 3, once we're moving our bodies, once we're making sure that we take care of our mentality in the long run, how do we improve our sales brain? How do we actually get in sales pocket and stay in sales pocket? And there are 4 main guidelines that I have and recommend for it. Number 1 is listening to A+ top tier sales calls. Have you ever seen those language studies where people will listen to different language tutorials while they're sleeping because the theory behind it is that it trains your unconscious? Well, I don't really know how well this works, but I do know that training your unconscious is a real thing. And I know that I did it when I was awake and I would listen to top tier sales calls. I would go to the gym or I'd be in the car and I'd be listening to either my best sales calls or sales calls that my friends did that were really, really fucking good sales calls. And what that did is it just unconsciously wired me to realize what a good sales call was. And I was always modeling after the best. It's like if you're trying to get better at chess and you watch chess videos of grandmasters playing. If you see what the best of the best are doing, you're naturally going to start to imitate that. And if you do the same with sales calls, you're naturally going to start to imitate better sales calls. And so first guideline is constantly listen to A+ sales calls whenever you have time. If it's in the car or if it's while you're chilling before you go to bed or at the gym, have really good sales calls in some headphones and just listen to them whenever you have a sec. Guideline number 2 is setting aside 30 or 45 minutes a day toward intentional or instructional lessons. So whether it's a lesson from Educate or reading a sales book for 30 minutes or working on a mock call with somebody for 30 minutes, it's making sure that you're consuming information for 30 or 45 minutes a day. So let's use chess again as an example. If you're watching grandmasters play, that's awesome. You're going to start to imitate grandmasters. But at the same time, you want to learn how to develop different openings and you want to learn different mid-game tactics. And the best way to do that is from going into something that's intentionally trying to teach you that. A video or a lesson or a book on specific openings, consuming that information. And then what happens is when you listen to top tier sales calls or you watch grandmasters play chess, those instructional videos actually show you the inner workings of why they're doing what they're doing. And you start to understand it better and you start to comprehend it better. You feed your brain in guideline 1 with top tier play, and so you know what to imitate. And then in guideline number 2, you understand the imitation and you comprehend it, and then you actually can start to better it. The third principle, and this principle, it's probably the most productive principle you can follow and do, but no one ever does it because it feels the least productive, and it's also like the most awkward, or how do I word it? It's the most just uncomfortable one to do, is at the end of your day, listen to your sales calls from that day. Set aside 15, 20, 30 minutes just to listen to your sales calls. And whether you know how to review a call properly or not, and we'll go over that in advanced topics, but whether you know how to actually review a call properly or not, you're just gonna hear things that you're like, you know what? I said that and that was really, really good. I've never said that before, but I want to say that again on future calls. Or you're going to hear yourself say something and you can be like, why the fuck did I say that? And the reason this is so important is because we talked about 1,000 fuck ups before, and 1,000 fuck ups to get better, right? The problem most reps have is that they fuck up and they don't know they fuck up. And so they keep repeating the mess ups. When you listen to your calls at the end of the day, what you see is what you did well, what you didn't do well. And you actually internalize your mess ups and you internalize your accidents. And when you do that, you avoid having them happen again. People used to ask me all the time how I got so good at sales so quickly. And it's because of principle number 3, guideline number 3, listening to my sales calls. Every day I've listened to every single sales call I had that day at the end of the day. And I would just write notes on what I did well and what I didn't do well. And my whole goal was whatever I didn't do well, I never wanted to do that again. And so every single day, I started chipping away at the mistakes I'd be making until eventually what I didn't do well was becoming a smaller and smaller and smaller list. Guideline number 3, it feels like the least productive. It feels the most uncomfortable because no one ever likes to hear what they're doing wrong. No one ever likes to hear their voice at the end of the day. But listen to your own sales calls. I'm not kidding, game changer. No one ever does it. I'm gonna say that 1,000 times because no one ever fucking does it, but it's gonna make you a better sales rep, I promise. Last guideline number 4, to make sure your sales brain is always sharp, always in place, is set aside half an hour every single day just to make sure that your operational or organizational side is taken care of. In short, this really just means keep your CRM clean. If you're new to sales, you might not know what a CRM is. It's a client relationship management tool. You'll get there. I'm not gonna go into it. Every single sales team has a CRM. Even in advanced topics, we'll talk about having your own CRM for organization. But I'll just say this, the reason that I never let opportunities fall through the cracks was because I never let my day end without my CRM being organized. And what that allowed me to do is not have to play with everything in my brain. Even now I have what's called a second brain. In sales, your CRM is your second brain. It's where all of your follow-up and all your notation and all of the memories that you have from different calls, it all goes in your CRM. Every prospect should have notes about what your last conversation was on. Tasks for when you should follow up with them next, and different statuses and where they are in the lead cycle. If you don't have to remember all that, it's really easy for your brain to stay sharp. But if you're trying to remember 1,000 different things from 1,000 different prospects, your brain's not gonna be able to handle that. And so throw it all into the CRM, throw it all into something that has perfect memory. I promise you, it's just gonna help you stay sharp over the long run. It's gonna help you make sure you make more money. It's gonna help you make sure shit doesn't fall through the cracks. If you really think about how I talked about immersion before, and you have to be immersed to get really good at sales and to build your offer recognition skills, I talked about how important immersion was, right? And then think about these 4 things. Listening to sales calls whenever you have time to imitate the best. Intentionally learning from something 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day. Listening to your own sales calls at the end of every day, and then taking time to organizationally track all your sales shit. If you do that, you are living and breathing sales. And it's so easy to get good fast when you do that. Think about someone who's trying to get better at baseball, and they're playing baseball every day, watching pro baseball games. They're watching videos on how to swing a bat more effectively or how to field grounders differently or whatever it is. And they're recording themselves fielding grounders to see what they're doing well and what they're not doing well. If someone's doing that versus someone who just plays baseball a couple times a week, which one do you think is gonna get better, right? Immersion into the craft, making it everything that you're doing, making it your life for a little bit of time, it's gonna expedite your learning curve, and it's gonna make you a lot of money in the short term, I promise. But that said, quick video. And it's because, candidly, I just wanna get to phase 3. I wanna get to phase 3 for 2 reasons. Number 1, we've been recording for 10 hours, but number 2, more importantly, phase 3 is what I'm actually really, really, really fucking excited for. Phase 3 is when we get into the fun stuff. It's the sales principles, it's the sales frameworks, the techniques, everything we're doing on sales calls. That's my favorite thing to talk about. And so this is it. This is phase 2. Next lesson is in phase 3. Phase 3 is all about the sales process. I am so excited to see you there. I'm also so excited to finish out phase 2. I will say phase 2, I never had any of this stuff when I started in sales. Everything we went over is stuff that I had to learn through trial and error over 5 or 6 years. For you to have this all, I envy you, I'm jealous. And so I know that I'm underplaying this and downplaying it because I want to get to phase 3, but phase 2, I hope you thought it was as much of a banger as I meant for it to be. I will see you in phase 3. I will see you in that next lesson. Until then, happy hunting.